We have Sajid from Boxman as well as Ravi joining us from Amsterdam. So I would like to give the handle to both of them to take on and go ahead with this webinar. So yeah, please go ahead, Sajid and Ravi.
Thank you, Ravi. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on AI and mental wellness. Um, what is interesting about AI is the I part, and that's what we are going to explore more today. Before we deep dive into this topic, let me just ask you a question. How many of you have just used tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney or anything which is AI powered in the last 1 month? I think that would be a long time, maybe just before getting on this call. Ravin, if you can help us with a quick poll and see what kind of response we get. I think we have a few more seconds and few more participants to answer this question. But I think we'll end the poll here because we have got majority saying yes. And just before getting on this call, I would take it, or just recently that you used this one of this AI tool. Um, so amazing, 2 years back or just maybe last year, we were using Siri and getting amazed when Siri helped us to set up an alarm or just to tell us how the weather is before we step out, for example. And now we are using AI tools to co-write emails, design graphics, and analyzing data. All this with AI. It's exciting and fast. And to be honest, it's overwhelming. Just as overwhelming as the poll, where 85-90% of you just mentioned that you have just recently used an AI tool. So today it's session, like I said, it's about not about AI necessarily or about technology. It's more about it's more about us. It's about ourselves and about our mental wellness. And where in this world, fast-paced world, AI is becoming more and more prominent and part of our almost every day-to-day activity that we do or corners of our life. It's a buzzword, and that's the buzzword we want to first kind of understand more. And for that, I have my co-host Ravi. With his experience and background, I would just open it up for Ravi to throw some more, light on this AI buzz. Ravi, what do you
You're
think?
happy to, Sajid. First of all, hello everyone, and thank you for welcoming me to this session. It's a pleasure to be back here. I say pleasure to be back. Maybe last time something that I spoke in the webinar made sense. That's why I'm called back. But to your question, Sajid, why is AI such a buzzword? First, I will take a step back and let's also look at what is generative AI itself. Um, Best to look at this through an example. Imagine 2 years ago you were writing an email and you were stuck. What would we naturally do when you are not getting the words to write an email? It could be a report, it could be a book, whatever it is. We might have Googled for some tips, asked some colleague for help, a mentor for help, etc. Right? But today, what do is you can just open an AI tool like ChatGPT or Gemini and type in an instruction, which we call a prompt, like help me write a friendly follow up email, maybe to a client who has not replied to me in a week's time. Now, when you give that instruction, you see magic happening on the screen, and generative AI is writing it for us. Now, the version that you're getting, or the template or the answer you're getting, is not copied from anywhere. It is created a brand new email based on everything that the system has learned from billions of examples that it has seen. So basically, ChatGPT, Gemini are large language models that are trained on billions of examples, in fact, the entire internet. And based on that, it knows, okay, for this kind of an instruction, this is what I need to do to give you magically an answer that is not a copy of anything else. So generative AI is not finding, it's not just finding old answers, it's actually making new things right when you need it. And that is the exciting part about Gen AI. It's the creation of new things. This could be text. The example I gave of an email is like text, but Gen AI can also create images, it can create music, it can create code. So anything that follows a logic or a system that it can learn from an example and throw back an example, including even videos today, can be done through Gen AI. But how does it do it? But basically, the AI learns by studying massive amounts of existing content. Like I mentioned earlier, the entire internet, maybe you have a blog post, maybe you have books, maybe you have Wikipedia, movie scripts, social media, all of it goes through and it finds patterns of how things are written, drawn, spoken. And then it gets really good at predicting what are you asking and what should the most accurate response be. So it's a bit like an autocomplete, right? For example, if I say good AI, what is the next word that should come? AI has looked through millions of data that it says 60% probability the word after good should be morning. Now, the other possibilities are good day, or it can be good evening, or it can be good Lord, whatever it is. But AI is giving you a response based on prediction and it based on how most people are doing this. But the example that I gave you, just think of it maximized many, many, many times and levels. So it's super creative, super fast, and can also be super funny many, many times, right? But the question that you asked, Sajid, is why is it such a buzzword? And why is it, viral? Anywhere you open, you're just seeing AI. In my opinion, there are three big reasons for this. The first is the speed. The pace at which the adoption has grown is wild. I was around when the internet came along. But the internet grew, in my opinion, from those late 1990s to early 2000s. It was almost 7, 8, 9 years as I grew. The internet also grew, and slowly I understood how the entire thing is coming. But with AI, it's it's like amazing to think just a year ago ChatGPT came out with the big news and today it's already in every conversation. To give you an example, ChatGPT hit 1 million users just in 5 days. And if you compare it with a similar tool like Instagram, they took 3 months to get 1 million users. So it's evolving and improving at a speed that we've not seen before, right? In tech, at least. The second key reason why it's a buzzword is accessibility. So I don't need to be a data scientist and I know zero coding, software engineering, etc. in order to use AI. You just have, like I mentioned earlier, to type in a prompt, click a button, and you are seeing magic that's happening. So AI can help you brainstorm an idea, write an email, summarize a document, or even debug software code. So it's available to everybody and not just to a select group of software engineers or the tech elite crew. I think the third key reason why it is such a buzzword is disruption. It's already transforming how we work, how we are writing, how we market things, how we even hire people, how we analyze data, how we design products. And now with agentic AI, it's taking it a step ahead. So, what an AI agent does is it's not just giving you back output, which is new, it's not just creating output for you, it's also doing things on your behalf. So, you can do bookings on your behalf, you can purchase groceries on your behalf, you can just, so AI, if it really understands who you are, what is the dishes that you like, and in order to create the dishes that you want to cook, what are the ingredients required, and if it has access to your supermarket and your bank account, it can basically do everything. It can order your entire shopping list that comes in and does it. So right, it's touching every individual, every industry, every role. And that's why, with this disruption, it's going to make a lot of noise. The deeper reason why this whole topic, in my opinion, feels so intense right now is not just about the technology that I've spoken about so far. I think it's also challenging us as human beings because it's asking many questions like, if a machine can write an article, it can do all that coding, Ravi, that you mentioned, it is designing images, logos. What does happen to my role, right? How am I keeping up with all this progress? Because every week there is some or the other update that's happening. Will I still be relevant 5 years? What will the world look like, right? So these are real human questions. And that's why I feel today's topic is going to be really interesting, the discussion, because we're going to look at that human side of AI, not the tech side. So it's a buzzword, but it's also the beginning of something big. And I believe it's going to be shaping what's coming up next. To unpack further the human side of AI, Sajid, the thought on my mind is, are we leading AI or is AI leading us? I'm curious to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. I think it's important for us to understand what is AI capable of. And I think, Ravi, you explained it in a very simple manner and how AI works in the background. So right now, as a layman, we all know about AI is about ChatGPT or a similar tool where you just put some prompt and you get information. But it's beyond that. And I think Ravi just put it in, beautifully and to explain the concept behind it. And just for from my side, if I can just, what I've understood also is basically AI creates a system which mimics the human cognitive functionalities, the function of human. Basically, it just mimics that with the help of the large data that's there in the background. So. But where what AI cannot do at what compared to humans is if you look at the emotion side of humans or the creative side of humans, those are some of the important elements of human. Empathy is another one. So empathy, emotion, or creativity is something which would still need human intervention. So Ravi, to answer your question, if it is something which is leading us, I think the right question probably would be if it helps us and how can we work together. And that will happen only if we consider AI as a friend, and not a foe, as a probably a personal assistant, as somebody who is helping us to enhance our performance. You can also consider AI as your mentor. Why would you not want a tool which helps you to do your job well? All the tasks, all the responsibility that you have to do it well. Um, and talking about that, recently when I was talking to one of my designer friend, and this is how it also kind of made me realize, yeah, it's really powerful if you just change the way we think about AI. So this designer friend had an idea, a vague idea of a image that he would want, he wanted for a marketing purpose, for a concept, vague concept. So all he had to do is just he typed a few prompts to the AI tool, and the AI in return gave some visual which was he never imagined, and it was more of inspirational than the fear of being replaced to my friend or to that designer, So that's the potential. So it will not exactly take away the human creativity, but it will only amplify our thought process, our ideas, our creativity. It cannot eliminate the creative blocks. It can offer hundreds of variations when we are stuck with just one idea. And even for me personally, when I come across ideas in my role as well, I have to think about strategies and vision. And for that, AI is quite powerful, wherein I can further elaborate and get more, thoughts or perspective to a small idea. And that's the power of AI. So uh, when we keep aside, the judgment or the emotion, we can decide which actually works, and that's the That's the power, that's the power. We need to work together with the AI. So I would say we can lead AI, then AI leading us, and that will happen only once we embrace it without any fear or any judgment. So, like everything else, there is good and bad. So if you talk about the humans, if you're talking about humans, definitely there are good and there are bad human, unfortunately. And what do we do with that? We have been doing that for generations now. We keep away, right? We keep away from individuals or humans who are maybe toxic, who are probably negative, who are probably troublemakers, and we embrace the others who are good. And similarly for AI, there are certain parts of AI which probably can be disruptive or can be disturbing. So we have to keep that aside and look at the good side of AI. And I think that's something I would like to also ask Ravi, what is his perspective on the good and the bad side of the AI, and how can we deal with that?
I agree with you, Sajid. Everything in life, like you mentioned, humans or any technology, the mobile phone, the internet, and even AI comes with the two sides of the coin, right? So the good is, if I speak specifically about AI, it can automate repetitive tasks. So thereby you get the time to focus more on meaningful work. Like you mentioned your example as well, it helps you to enhance your own creativity. And when you were sharing that example, what came to mind is the nature of you can give multiple personalities to AI, something that I'm very fascinated with. So I'll give you an example. When developing a presentation, what I do is I first say, hey, these are my thoughts, this is my idea, this is my storyline, what should the presentation flow be like, what am I missing, etc. And I get a perspective from my end. But I can very easily flip the role of AI and say, now pretend you're the audience and I'm delivering this presentation. What is your experience going to be? What questions are going to come in your mind? And that feedback will help me enhance back, my presentation. So in a way, really getting blind spots is aware of that is amazing in my usage of AI. And it's available 24/7, right? So unlike a doctor or a friend I gave in my earlier example, sometimes we go to a mentor, we have to depend on their schedule. But with AI, it's available anytime for you, and it helps us be better versions of ourselves, I believe, if used rightly, to make faster decisions or analyze data at speeds that will take me a very, very long time if I had to do it without, right? And I can also do personalized experiences, even the Netflix playlist that is created or Spotify playlist that's created, there's all AI elements within that. And being a learning professional, what I find the biggest change that AI is making for the learning community is in the past, I had to go do this course to learn about something. Today, I can really, let's say, for example, I want to learn some financial concepts like top line, bottom line of the company. I had to go through a course, I had to search the internet. Today, I can go to AI and say, explain to me what is EBITDA, what is top line, what is bottom line, and explain to me as if I'm a 10-year-old. In that way, AI is customizing and storytelling to me in a way that I like it. But like you said, we focused a lot on the good. On the bad side of AI, or the negatives, you can also see that in the short term, it's going to create a lot of, my prediction, displacement of jobs, especially, roles which are built on routine or predictability. I think it's going to change those roles. It also raises a huge concern of data privacy, right? So all my and especially this week, this has been a hot topic on multiple systems, where by learning how the large language model learns is the more prompts we give, the more replies we are, and the more data we consume, it learns from that. So the more input you give, it is using that to learn about overall, but it's also learning about you, which means it is consuming vast amount of information on you. Um, and this means it can also spread misinformation, right? So not everything that AI gives out as output can be considered accurate for you, because sometimes it doesn't understand your context. It is just looking at what is the most probable answer, right? It can also spread misinformation and create like deep fakes, which is a new concept that is very difficult to spot. So I can create a video of any big celebrity saying anything that I want and put it out, and you will not be able to know the difference between what is a real video and what is artificial, right? So these are some of the things that we need to watch out. And I feel the last element of AI that we need to be careful about is all these large language models consume a vast amount of resources, because they are huge data centers that's consuming our resources in processing and giving out output. So what is the impact on the environment, is a topic again that we as a community and society need to think about. So, to answer you, Sajid, my view is it's very powerful, but it needs to be governed both at an individual and at a community level, which means we need certain guardrails. But this is where it also gets interesting and scary, right? So, AI is not just a tool that follows instructions, it's learning, it's adapting, it's predicting what you want to say even before you say it, and it'll get better with time. But who decides what the AI should learn? Who is accountable when the AI makes a mistake? How do we as humans stay in control as we unlock the potential of AI? And these are some of the questions that keep coming up, which leads me to a deeper question. Where do you draw the line between the helpful and harmful nature of AI, especially when it comes to some of these topics that I touched upon, right? That AI could replace jobs, roles. It is doing a lot more, which means it is taking a lot more of the mental capacity of human beings as well, which puts a lot of stress on us, on our mental well being. So, Sajid, where would you draw the line on the helpful and harmful nature of AI?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Ravi. Like we were discussing, right, there is good and bad, and definitely we need to be, first of all, be mindful and aware of what's the positives and what is something we need to be careful of. I think a couple of things you also mentioned about in your discussion about the celebrities and some fake content. I think that's something which is a bit or a lot scarier, because pretty much you can mask anybody and have somebody performing something which they never did or saying something which they never said. So we need to be aware of that. This is possible with the AI, and that's something it should be differentiated as well. In fact, this just today morning I came across a very famous song, uh, which I also got kind of caught by that. It's a recent famous song, but it was an AI created version for a 50-year-old celebrity singer. And I thought, oh, so this was a copied song by the latest release. But actually, it was not. It was the old song was actually kind of created on AI. So if we are not mindful or aware that this is possible, we will start believing things which are fake, and that's the scary part of it. And that's what we need to be really, and that's the harm. So, Ravi, to answer your question also, where do we draw the line is by being mindful, by being aware. And another example, also harmful, very harmful thing that you mentioned is about the environment impact. So we, without thinking much, use ChatGPT, which is most commonly used for every little thing that we need today. Even if you want to just write a simple email, there's no harm. We are not discouraging of using of ChatGPT or any other AI tool. Over to an AI consumes a lot of energy to run this servers and things like that. So it needs water. So I don't know how true is this or if it is correct, but it takes almost a quarter liter of water to draft one email. So that's the amount of water is required to run these big giant machines, which runs your data and all these LL models of language model, large language model, LLP models, and things like that. So yes, going back and to the question again about helpful and harmful. We also, what we see, if I see personally, life is getting really easier with technology. Ravi, you mentioned about ordering some stuff, paying, everything is done by AI, and it's happening. It's not anymore a dream. It's already a reality. So life has become a lot easier. Sitting anywhere in the world, you can pretty much do a lot of things, and we are more connected than ever, right? We are talking now on this call. Probably we have people from at least 3 continents, and that's the power again of technology. But at the same time, we are more burnt out. We have all these productive tools at our within our reach, but we still feel behind when it comes to our tasks. We still feel pressurized. We still feel overwhelmed, that we have to do so many things. So while we are saying, okay, there are things which technology is helping, and things are going faster, or it's smooth, or it's convenient. At the same time, the stress levels, the feeling of being overwhelmed, the mental wellness of people are still at large questionable. And if you ask, with the recent study that we also saw, 1 in 3 employees feel more stress at work due to pressure of keeping up with this technology, or specifically AI tools. So sounds familiar, right? We all are going through this anxiety and this mental load of adapting, and the fear of being irrelevant. Okay. But on the flip side, if you see, like we have been emphasizing or reiterating on the fact that there are good and bad, and on the flip side, you also have chatbots of AI, which who will offer mental health support, and without any judgment. So it's still a kind of a taboo, or a thing which we are not very comfortable going and talking to a therapist, or to a doctor about our anxiety or our stress, or something that is running in our mind. But it's very, I think we won't think twice if we have to do a similar thing with a bot or with an AI enabled tool. And I'm sure most of you do put a lot of questions on these tools, which are very personal, or which are related with your mental health support, or something that is worrying you. I do that, and I feel more comfortable doing that than sometimes talking to a friend, for example, or forget about a doctor or a therapist, because you're going to get a no filter, no judgmental kind of a response, and backed by some facts and research, and the amount of information that the AI tools have. Also, there are AI tools which helps us to track our sleep patterns, our health, mood, and all those things. So there are tools available, with the support of the technology or the AI, which can help us negate or overcome these harmful, let's say, side effects of AI. And that's something that we need to embrace. So we are seeing both sides. There is a lot of good, and there is a bit of harm as well, or a lot of harm, if you want to put it like that. But the key is, like I said, Ravi, and everybody on the call, the key is being aware, being mindful of it exists, and making a wise and the right decision to use the tool wisely, and for as something that is an enhancer for you, is something which is an enabler for you, and not something which is making you feel stressed or fear about your job. I would say, that this question, I think we want to kill this question also about, is my job safe because of AI? And I think that question probably may come at the end. But the thing is that nobody's job or anything would be saved until and unless we are aware and we are embracing this technology. Just like the technology of the past, it's important that we embrace AI. So I would put it as no if we work with AI, but yes, if we do not and we keep being resistant or reluctant to work together with AI. So um, that's how it is, Ravi and everyone. Um, what can we do about this? It's something that we need to think about. And like I said, one of the thing is let's not feel overwhelmed. Let's be mindful of the or and aware. Okay, we should also practice some of the things which I think Ravi, if you can share with us, what more can we do as individuals to overcome these challenges?
Sure. And I think, Sajid, you covered quite a bit, quite nicely about this. Um, while you shared that AI is here to stay, we can't slow AI down. Um, I feel you rightly stressed about we have the choice on how we relate to it. It's a bit, I go back to the mobile phone example. Since the time of the mobile phone, it is amazing. You mentioned how connected we are, people from across continents, we're all able to be here together, etc. But recent studies have proved that the generations that are growing up at the time of the mobile phone are also really dealing with anxiety and other sorts of mental wellness issues because of the amount of content that's consumed by social media. And we go across, there is a really nice book where the author, actually a statistician, is talking about those who grew up at the time when the iPhone was released and after. And the name of the book is The Anxious Generation. Across the world, how it has had an impact on mental health. The same for AI, maybe at a much higher, significant level, and we are at the start of that journey. But I would also say, how do we take care of ourselves? Because I still believe we have a choice, right? We can set the boundaries for ourselves. So set digital boundaries. Not every notification is urgent. So some of the things that I try to follow is no devices before 8 in the morning. Um, so when you wake up to natural light, you are getting your, routine and your mental space to really calm down, reflect about things, and then before devices take over and communication takes over. And we can do the same for AI as well as boundaries before, as soon as I get a query, my go-to in the beginning was if somebody says, "Hey, do you have an idea for this?" I would go to ChatGPT and ask. And then I realized what is the impact on my own critical thinking. So now I make a conscious attempt to say first, what are my views? To have my own opinions on certain ideas and then see can I enhance that using AI. So I'm trying not to escape thinking, but to enhance it, right? So I'm using AI intentionally, is the second practice that I'm trying to do for myself. The first one is to set boundaries. And the third is just stay curious, learn, experiment, ask questions. And I try not to get overwhelmed. Like you rightly said, it can be super overwhelming, but you don't have to be the master of everything. Right now, it's also a lot of it is a buzz. And if it is in some way not adding value to you and enhancing your output and work, it's also okay not to be on top of it, those aspects of AI, right? And I feel as a leader, as a community, normalizing conversation about the impact of AI on mental health and in general, not just AI, but the tech fatigue that is set in. How do we talk about it, the impact for ourselves and on our teams and on our families? That's important. Upskilling ourselves and the teams, not just from a technical aspect of how to use AI, but also emotionally. I feel that is super important. And really to I feel as human beings, we always, see the impact and then fine tune. So we've seen, at least in the Netherlands where I'm here, seeing the impact of mobile phones on kids. Last year, they came up with the rule that mobile phones are banned in schools here. I would say can we be proactive about it and promote how do we use AI ethically? So, how can we set guidelines, guardrails on what should be these tools? How do the tools value privacy, consent, dignity, etc., embedded within the tool itself, right? Um, I truly believe you don't need to be an AI engineer to lead in this space. You can just be a person who cares about people and how you see the potential drawbacks and how do you mitigate that. But as a leader and a very successful leader, Sajid, of leading Boxman, um, how do you see the role of a leader and on society in order to draw these boundaries?
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. I think it's the point that you mentioned about not being judgment or promoting the usage of technology for enhancing the performance. So, and what is important is also to make this conversation normal and not something which is restricted or which is not talked about. I think we need to we do that. We talk about how we can embrace different tools and AI into our workflows, different processes that we have, which will make things better, not necessarily take away anything from anybody, but only enhancing the performance. Yes, of course, as we let's say implement, integrate more of AI into the processes, there will be a certain repetitive task which will be managed by AI tools and which may result into the, if it is done today by a human, will be replaced. But at the same time, the humans will, like I said, will be still responsible to manage the process. So I see it's going to be more of a repurposing or repositioning of jobs, and which will require a lot of upskilling as well, and a lot of in terms of also understanding and embracing the different technologies that's available as well, and working along with the technologies is going to be the key. So this is what we're doing in our own way at Boxman as well, as how much we can utilize the technology that's available for us, and how do we grow with it together. So that's what we're doing here, and I think with that it brings us close to the close of this session. But before we close, I would just like everybody to take one deep breath and pause and answer this question if you can, So because we have gone through this, if I just a very quick recap, we started this conversation by just understanding what AI is and how it's kind of making impact in our lives. And this session is more about us and individuals or the humans. So how we can make best use of this, be more aware, how we can embrace and improve our performance. So rather being stressed or overwhelmed, how we can feel more empowered. And that the session was, and what to avoid basically. So with what we have uncovered today and what we have shared today, with that, what is that one thing you will do differently after today's sessions to protect your mental wellness while still embracing AI? And that's the question I would like to put it out there. And Ravi, if you want to answer, and then we'll also take response from the audience that we have. Um, yeah, I will also
No,
share.
it's a great question, Sajid,
Yeah.
and I would say the one thing that I do to protect my own mental wellness, and on top of that, my own creative thinking, is to pause every time before I use AI to really first think through it myself and then ask the tool. I feel that is just a sense of, reducing my dependency on AI. At the same time, I know the value and output it brings. So I'm trying to be more conscious to enhance my work rather than over rely on AI systems. That's my um, 2 cents on the one thing that I would do. What would yours be?
Okay. Yeah, similarly, I think utilize it. But before that, before going to AI, use the RI, which I call it real intelligence, which is your own intelligence. So I would practice till so because we had one conversation as well in the discussion, which is about the creativity, and there is no way AI will replace your creativity. It will only amplify that. So I will continue to use my creativity first, my thoughts first, and then use the tools to just get better at what I can do and get more out of life in short. So I think we'll also take some response on this question. The question is on the screen. If you have not heard me, I will repeat the question. What is one small thing you will do differently after today to protect your mental wellness while still embracing AI? So we would love to hear from you all. And Ravin, if you can help us with the response that you're getting. Um, and then, yeah, thank you.
So hi everyone. You guys can just access the chat down there on your Zoom screen, and you can just start answering and provide your responses to the question, what is one small thing you'll do differently after today to protect your mental wellness while still embracing AI?
And Ravi, I would just suggest to unmute as well. So in case if somebody is more comfortable in talking rather than putting it on the chat or sharing their thoughts, it will be great to hear them as well.
Definitely.
And in the meantime, Raveen, any questions for us? I'm conscious of time. I don't want to keep people.
Yes. So at the same time, if any of you have any questions to the hosts about this topic or anything about AI in general, you guys are free to ask. Again, I'm reminding you, you can just drop it on the chat, or else you are free to unmute and speak, which is always welcome. All right, we have one question coming up. So this question is from Aaron. What jobs will disappear in the next 5 to 10 years of time with layoffs, etc., happening around the world?
I'm happy to give my 2 cents on this, Raveen. Um, if I had a crystal magic ball and I look to it, I want to warn you that this is kind of my opinion. I feel routine, any job that is routine and repetitive, that can be easily automated, could be impacted and replaced by AI or robots. In the current industry that I work within the tech space. A lot of my colleagues and friends also work in tech, and we are seeing here a lot of anything that requires repetitive tasks. Could be software engineer coding, there could be an impact there. Let's say data entry, there could be an impact there. Telemarketing, I see an impact there. But again, the role itself might change. So when I say there is an impact on that role, I feel in the current way that it's doing. For example, in telemarketing today, you have somebody who picks up and is answering certain standard questions. I believe AI voice assistants and chatbots can really do this in a very human like and persuasive manner because you're answering the standard questions, right? That is coming up. Um, Also, I work within the travel space. So traditionally, you have travel agents, right, who will guide some people who are booking through travel, etc. But I believe AI can really personalize because they have been servicing so many travelers and they can really redefine that. So I think in every role there is a bit of automated things that is happening that can really be replaced. You can look at customer support, for example. In the current company I'm working for, we're really looking at chatbots to even handle the basic and sometimes complex queries. But like Sajid really pointed out, there is the element of human creativity that cannot be replaced. So there is a good amount of complexity that comes in that really needs a human to come in and which cannot be replaced. So my 2 cents is, if you're a person really designing the telemarketing system or designing how customer support works, you are more a creator than an executor in your role, then I feel the demand for such kind of roles will only go up.
Thank you so much for that, Ravi. Before I go to the next question, we do have a response for the question on the screen from Cheryl. She's mentioning to the previous question, I think as explained, we should set digital boundaries like limit screen time, especially on social media, um, or doom scrolling, set specific times for all the AI tool and avoid over reliance on it. So that is from Cheryl. And there's another response from Bobby Moore. She's saying that I will use AI in a balanced way to keep my mind healthy, not a replacement for real human connection or my own thinking. Tools like ChatGPT have truly been a game changer for me, from learning faster to communicating better and even giving me that extra boost of confidence when I need it. It's like having a smart companion by my side every day. Uh, okay, there's another response that came in from Shazad. It says we should be more focused on the work and balance life through self-care and focus on my physical health. My only saying is to not rely much on the AI tool unless it is much required. All right. So incredibly great responses from all three of you. Thank you so much for the responses. But we do have another question as well. The question is about company pipeline and leadership. What happens to that when roles are being replaced by AI?
Okay. Right. I can take that, Ravi. So I think we touched on this briefly earlier, that definitely there will be a shift in the let's say in the focus, or the shift in the employees, or the talent that is required, right? So there will be companies or leaders who will have to deal with this, with the employee pipeline, and what are the changes that comes with it. So one is repositioning and redefining the job roles, because we will need probably more people who would be managing operational tasks to overseeing the AI systems, right? Like we said, we need to ensure that the AI is also, or the tools that the application that's been created out of the AI are working as per the company strategy or the goals and so on. So that is number one thing, that we need to make sure that there is a human involvement, or the managing the operational part of overseeing AI. I think reskilling and upskilling will also be something which will be required, because more and more of, and not more and more, I would say all of us needs to work together with the AI and understand the nuances and how exactly the AI automation works, and what part of the workflow can be automated with the help of AI and be more efficient. So this is what I feel like, it will be more on the um, training, reskilling, upskilling, and the repositioning or redefining the job role is what will be the biggest thing, if not the challenge, but I think the agenda for the leadership to ensure that the employee pipeline is managed well. Yes.
All right. So as there are no any more questions, I will be asking the last question myself. So the question is, do you think AI's support for mental wellness, having a positive for mental wellness, is enough to justify the negative effect on the wellness itself?
Mm. I think important question. To be honest, my sense is it depends on how AI is used, who is really using AI, and what problems it's trying to solve. A lot of this we covered previously. It also goes back to what Sajid and I covered in terms of the good and the bad of AI and the balance between the two. And I would put the responsibility on each one of us. And I see that sentiment also coming across in the chat, right? With all of you really saying that we need to maintain the balance. So I would say, hey, I, rather than saying being with a victim mindset to say, hey, um, in some ways AI is going to impact mental wellness. What will the universe do to do it? I would put us in the driver's seat and say, what is it that we are doing, in order to protect our mental wellness? How are we leveraging AI? Some bits that was touched upon earlier, AI is available 24/7, right? They are AI powered mental chatbots. Vyasa, Wobot, there are quite a few that I have experimented with that provide support anytime without needing any appointment. And Sajid, when you were speaking about therapists earlier, I remember there is this article, you can Google it, from the Harvard Business Review that recently says the number one use case for AI across the world is not for writing emails, letters, etc. It's for therapy, right? People are using it for therapy. That's the number one use case of AI across the world. And the reason for that is available anytime. And like you pointed out, Sajid, that psychological safety that AI offers, where you can really share there. And there is a low um, barrier to entry. You know, if I feel a stigma in seeking for help, I feel safe speaking to AI, right? And also, AI can reach millions globally in places where therapists are limited, right? Saji spoke about mood tracking, habit tracking, sleep tracking, etc. These are ways that I can really leverage using AI. It could also be planning my exercise routine. Shehzad, you mentioned that balance between physical health and mental health. Both are so interconnected. How do I leverage AI to give me a nice workout routine, a plan for myself, etc.? It all is the leverage, right? But at the same time, we should be aware as the trends we are seeing heavy usage of technology. It will increase with AI, but we already see it with the smartphone. It's replacing human interaction. I see this with my 9-year-old son. He's more interested in playing games rather than on the computer, rather than going outdoors and playing with human beings, social interaction. And it's not just them. Many of us are glued to our devices for a considerable part of the day. Um, the over reliance on AI is something we have to be careful about. Just because AI gives you an answer, don't take it as the absolute truth. Um, and also, we spoke largely about the anxiety when it comes to jobs and also an identity as a race, right? Are we replaceable? Is everything that I do replaceable? Kind of feeling. I strongly believe if we think about like what Sajid meant as something that can enhance human us as individuals rather than be the master and replace us, it is very very powerful. But at the same time, thinking about before you share sensitive mental health, etc., think also about the data privacy, impact on environment, etc. So, to answer what you raised, Raveen, is AI support enough to justify the harm? I think AI has the potential to help. At some point, it is up to us on how we use it to make sure that anything with regards to anxiety, isolation, burnout, addiction, etc., is controlled. And as a society, as workplace, as individuals, how do we make choices on how to use AI and technology, right? So that human connection must remain at the center and it must help us, augment us, not replace us. And we need those strong ethical guidelines and regulation that I mentioned before.
Thank you so much, Ravi. And so, lastly, we have one more response on the chat, which says from Albert, says that my personal expectancy is that within the next 5 to 10 years, all menial tasks will be automated by software and or a combination of hardware. How can small or mid-sized companies prepare best and where to transfer the personnel that is no longer needed? I doubt most of them look forward to human poor companies. So I think what he's saying is that most of the people would not be looking forward to hiring humans anymore, which is what I think that is communicated there. But
And
yes,
what will also change, just a quick 2 cents on that, is the way a mid-size or a small company works today may not be the way it will work in a year's time, right? So today you are limited because of size. You can't do a lot because you need a lot of resource, you need a lot of capital, you need a lot of things. I think with AI, a small and a mid-sized company can do a lot what a larger company does. So I think the nature of the companies itself will change. So I don't think size will matter. I believe the larger corporations will start reducing. They will, you already see that with Microsoft and all that. They are getting rid of, the repeated tasks. They're coming to an ideal structure, and more smaller companies will come because today, if you look at last week, there was a company called Lovable, a Swedish company. They raised 2 million in funding. They have 6 employees and 14 chatbots, raising a capital of 2 million based on an idea that they have. These stories are going to become, do we call them mid-size? Revenue wise, they seem super large, but they have a very small employee strength. So more number of these are going to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ravi, if I can just add, Albert had a good question on this, and you mentioned about small, medium. If I can also relate ourselves, Boxman being a fairly young business, we fall in a SME category. But I feel so powerful because of the technology and the AI tools that we have to our, available for us, or the resources that's available for us. And you rightly mentioned, we no longer feel a small company because of the size. We feel that we can pretty much do same or more what a large companies can do in terms of technology and in terms of reach and outreach and, yeah, all the things that we can probably derive with this. And we are part of this great network which Albert heads, which is GLSN. And I think technology has been immensely used there as well, and bringing all these small businesses around the globe together and operate like a one large corporation. So I think, yes, it will just be redefined, reshaped, the way we do business, the way we think. There will be definitely loss of jobs, but it won't be that it will be replaced with something else. And it's just about the individuals to be ready, to be embracing, adapting to the change, seeing what they can do to make sure they are ready, they are skilled for to take those new challenges, new tasks as it comes. So I think that would be a simple answer for now. And there will be definitely a need of human resource or human task force, even with AI being there for different reasons and different things. Just like when the computers were launched or when the internet came, we did have a similar fear, maybe not as massive as today. However, we still survived that, and we life, if you look at positive things, only got better. So with AI, it will be a similar story, I believe, and it's just time would say more about this. So yeah, thank you.
all right. So with that, we will wind up for today. So thank you everyone for joining us today with this webinar. And thank you so much again, Sajid and Ravi, for your time in conducting this webinar. And we will see you again in another one very soon. Until then, see you all. Thank you so much.